What's up, everybody? This is another episode and the final episode of the regular season unpopular review right here, Dynasty Roundtable with my boy, the executive consultant, which is to this side, I'm sorry, and my man's Kilmo Charles down there. Unfortunately, Joel couldn't make it. He had other things precedent to do. It's all right. We'll see him next time this week for playoff picks because we're getting it. So let's get on today. How's everybody, and how was you guys' New Year?
Full of alcohol, but it was fun.
Yeah, I had a little Casamigos. You know what I'm saying? It was.
I think there was some Casamigos in there. It was just a lot of alcohol.
Yes. I had to work, unfortunately, and I spent my entire night throwing people out of the club. So
that fits you.
You're doing security now at a club?
Yes, I'm a bouncer.
Oh, you with a power trip job? I can imagine that.
I've been a manager like my entire
loads of fun.
What are you saying? Come on, bro.
That you being a manager, but you being a bouncer and being
a manager is one thing. Being a bouncer, dear Lord, Chris, I'm not used to seeing you get physical.
All he needs is a team lead position, and we'll never hear the end of it.
I mean, I had to get physical so far. I had to physically pick people up and throw them out. It was freaking ridiculous. They were just so drunk. I call them screwing in the bathroom, lighting up cigarettes.
Did you let them finish?
Actually, the funny story is, and then we really got to start, right? The funny story is, right? So I go in the bathroom because our job is to go to the bathroom and make sure that there's only one person in the stall. And you know how most of the time in the public restrooms, you see the little, there's a crack. So you got to kind of see in there. So I look and I just see the pumping, right? I give them 5 seconds, right? To try to, hurry
5 seconds.
Then I knock on it because if I get caught that I'm not doing anything, I get fired. So I knock on the door. Like, hey. Then, I swear to goodness, I'm not. This is a shoot. This is a true story. I knock on the door. I start seeing him pumping faster, right? Because he's trying to get off because he knows I'm about to kick him out. So I just tell him, open the door now. And I open the door. They come out. They start running. I had to go and tackle him, chase him down, tackle him. It was terrible. But that was my night.
Sounds like a fun night.
I'm glad I didn't have to do that in my time of being security so far. I had to set a couple people straight, but ain't nobody tested me to that point, though.
Yeah, yours actually should be worse.
All right. But all right. So on this episode, we're going to speak on the last week, of course, and like we said last week and the week before that, but we've been missing people continuously, So we're going to try to do this week with the MVP picks and Super Bowl pick favorites. AFC and NFC. So this is what we got going
on. Say that
for
next week. I meant to say that in the chat. My fault. Save that for next week because that gives us more content to talk about next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, mind you, this is still a work in progress, guys. So be
patient.
It's about it.
They watch for a few things. They watch for Phil's knowledge. They watch for your little pretty face, and they watch to see the executive consultant dominate like he always does. That's why you all watch us, even though nobody from Phil's friend group is watching us. Nobody from Eddie's friends group is watching us because y'all probably don't even know they have a fucking show. Because they don't ever
people. I have someone that watches. You might not watch over live, but I have people that watch.
If I look at your Facebook profiles, do I see this video shared to your Facebook profiles? No. So how are your friends truly watching? And they look and they scroll. And they say, "Oh shit, that's my boy Gilmo Charles."
So some of us are not as on this Facebook as much as others, and then you just send your thing to people.
Then you look and you say, "Oh shit, this mofo threw me out because I was too rowdy at the gate." I don't know his name. And they have a chance to curse you out online, being a keyboard warrior. All this stuff. So I'm going to teach you going into the postseason and going to next season the proper way to do these things. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the Dynasty Corner does not end. Hey, we might talk about the UFL, right? We'll see.
Yeah, right.
We'll see. Hey, the Orlando Guardians are got been dismissed, so I'm not exactly happy. All right, I wanted to see
And DC Defender's still there, so
I'm hoping
I'll be watching.
Yeah, but I'm not a DC fan. So.
I'm hoping The Rock comes to the XFL grand opening here at the stadium for this year's games. You know,
The Rock made an
Did
appearance.
he come to Audi Field for any of them?
yeah, for the initial opening, the first game that I think it's the Renegades,
Defenders.
the Defenders.
So
him and his
it
wife
was the Defenders, and they won because Orlando. No, that was Guardians. Orlando Guardians suck. But you know what? The thing is, that's around WrestleMania time, and he just made an appearance last night on Raw. He kind of called out your head of the table, and now everybody's thinking that's going to be WrestleMania, which is in Philadelphia, which I'll be there. But yeah.
Make sure while you're in Philadelphia, you go to Jalen Hurts' house and stroke his back a little bit because he's.
All right, so what's the first game we're going to talk about? Because I didn't see shit. I didn't see anything we were going to talk about. Actually, hold up. Can you name the 5 games? Never mind. I'll look at it. Y'all just talk. Y'all talk football real quick. I'm not prepared. That's on me. I've been in class.
So one of my fans wanted me to ask you guys, how did you feel about that call for Detroit and Dallas, where it looked like Taylor.
So
Lawton or whatever the hell his name is looked like he reported, and then number 70 ran over to report as the guy was running away. But how did he get 70 reporting? Give the sign that they were reporting when 68 was there talking to him, but then 70 ran over, and he gave the credit to 70.
So from my understanding, okay, 70 had been reporting the entire game in and out as the eligible receiver or whatever. So at the time that this took place, there was three players that approached the ref to try to report, which was number 67, number 70, and
70 was the last one. He was the one that ran over.
Right. So what happened was the Lions were sent all 3 of them because they were trying to send 70 to throw off the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, let me make something clear. That doesn't make no sense to me because as soon as you tell the ref, hey, so-and-so is eligible, then they have to go up to the defense and say, hey, so-and-so is eligible. Because if he's not accounted for and he's not covered, then they throw a flag for an illegal formation. The guy wasn't covered.
So two people can't report eligible?
Two people can report. But that was three people that showed up. It was 3 people that showed up.
So 67 was the decoy. Then you had 68 say, hey, I'm eligible.
No,
and he did the little sign for eligible. And 70 ran up and said, hey, I'm eligible too.
So
that's the one he.
So what happened was at the beginning of the game, both the coach and number 70 went up to the ref and said, hey, there's a possible play that could be in a scenario of such like where I'm going to be eligible. They ran all of this through before the game even started. So that's why the ref automatically thought that it was 70 and they reported 70 even in the loudspeaker. If they go into the to the stadium's actual sound, they report 70 as the eligible receiver. 67 went and caught it in the end zone for the 2-point conversion because he wasn't covered. He wasn't accounted for. So, you know, if he would have been reported properly or whatnot, then yeah. But there was other calls that they both missed for both Cowboys and for the Lions. For me personally, I think that they should really start finding these refs for these type of calls because that was pretty blatant.
That crew didn't get fined, but they got sent to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
And one of the guys I talked to, he's a former ref. He's like, that's almost as bad as being fired. Like they're at the bottom of the list for that whole crew has no chance of getting a playoff game.
Yeah, no. No, because that was horrible. And the thing is, in that one single week, there was 2 things that went wrong. First, y'all didn't report the right person, and secondly, y'all didn't throw the flag for the illegal formation because 67 wasn't covered and he was supposed to be the quote unquote eligible receiver.
Yeah.
So were they cheated? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say they got cheated. There was
I think Micah Parsons gave them a gift on the next play, and I just said, okay, so we done tried this 2-point conversion 2 times. It didn't work. Maybe we just need to go ahead and kick this and send this to overtime. Maybe they might have caught on to it, but that ain't Dan Campbell's style.
Nope. My man wanted to go aggro, and aggro he got. So now he has to bite down on the bullet and realize that
shit, he was playing with house money. Detroit's in the playoffs. Like, who would have thought that shit?
2 years in a row, right? Because last year they were in the playoffs also, I think.
You know who's in the playoffs? A lot of teams after this season ends, after the games this weekend. And ladies and gentlemen, we've talked a lot, and I mean a lot, about some irrelevant times. We need to get into some football games, and let's go ahead and start off with one of the football games. The game we're going to start off with is none other than the team that should be going to the playoffs, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. AFC North matchup. Baltimore Ravens, of course, number 1 seed in the AFC. The Pittsburgh Steelers are eliminated from playoff contention. However, the good news about
they're not. They're on the bubble.
They're mathematically in.
Mathematically, they are not out of the playoffs.
We have accepted defeat, but realistically, let's be happy over the fact that Mike Tomlin's 17 seasons still has not had a losing record. Shout out to him. Congratulations to him. But let's talk about it. Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens. Let's go back to old school format. Eddie, we are going to start with you. Who do you have in this victory, and tell me why you think Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win?
Well, I mean, for this game, I mean, it's kind of tough to really be sold on the Ravens because the Ravens really should be the ones to pick up this win and everything. But considering that they've already clinched the first round, I mean, the number 1 seed, and
in the first round bye, wild card bye,
more than likely they're going to sit out a lot of players. However, the defense, I'm pretty sure, is still going to some extent, is going to get some reps and everything. And I fully expect the backups to these guys to still be able to hold the Steelers off and everything. I mean, the Steelers are playing with not Pickett. Who's their quarterback this week, Chris?
Mason Rudolph.
Oh my God, squash face.
Right.
Yeah, that's not
Sasquatch looking ass, man.
I'm going with the Ravens on this one, man. You said Mason Rudolph. I got nothing to say about the Steelers. But congratulations to Mike Tomlin for having another winning season, even though no playoffs this year. But it takes a lot in order to have
17 years with no losing season. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's impressive. That's impressive. That's what that is.
Yeah, very much so.
I still don't understand how he still has Mason Rudolph on that team, given the.
Have you seen the other quarterbacks?
I've seen that debacle that happened with him and Myles Garrett and.
Yeah, squash face.
Squash face shouldn't be on a NFL roster, but that's neither here nor there. I want to say the Ravens are going to take this, but I believe there are going to sit quite a few people. Even though I think that them sitting players 2 weeks kind of bit them in the tail not too long ago. So I hope they avoid, sitting everyone, and then once they actually get on the field, they're rusty and lose in the divisional. But I'm hoping enough Ravens players play and they squeak out a victory against Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer.
So you're going with?
I'm going with Baltimore.
Okay. All right. Mr. Consultant.
The disrespect of
ain't no disrespect. We already gave credit to the person that's valued.
To the people that deserve credit, yes.
Let me tell you why the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win. One, because they do have a chance for the playoffs. So, okay, fine. But it's not realistically possible. depending on, I'm not sure what time the game is. Depending on what time the game is and depending on how it's looking, they might just not play their all anyway because they might want to get a better draft pick. So
it's a 1:00 game.
Keep that in mind. However, I'm still going with the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Pittsburgh Steelers hate the Baltimore Ravens, and they want to do everything in their power to make them look vulnerable going into the playoffs because right now Baltimore is favored to go to Super Bowl. Actually, some people favor them to win the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that next week, who I pick.
So far, I don't mean to cut you off, but so far right now, the Steelers are sitting at the 9th seed. They have the Texans at 8, the Colts at 7, the Bills at 6, and of course, I mean, the Jaguars still haven't clinched. I don't know how they haven't clinched. They're the only team. The Bucks are also a team that haven't clinched their division yet. This late.
Yay, NFC South.
So they need the Texans and the Colts to lose at least. I don't see the Bills losing, but it's very well possible. It's a very well good possibility that one or the other could lose. I mean, to be quite honest with you.
So is Pittsburgh in the Russell Wilson sweepstakes this offseason?
Yeah, Russell Wilson is he's done in Denver. I actually found out. Here's something interesting, and I know this isn't about this particular game, but apparently sometime in week 8, Sean Payton went up to Russell Wilson and said, "Hey, you
rework your contract."
Then this man
and Russell Wilson said, "Ha, that's cute." No.
Right. And then he proceeded to freaking beat the hell out of the freaking Kansas City Chiefs and other teams that are very well in contention. And there's
allow me to show you why you should give me more money. And they're like, "Oh, that's cute. Go sit on the bench."
Look, I'm a Sean Payton fan, man, but I don't think that was even right. I mean,
yeah, this is dirty.
It was a 7-year contract. We're on the 2nd year. Yeah, that was dirty. So I see Russell Wilson going somewhere else, but we'll get into a discussion about that.
We will definitely get into discussion. Let's talk about the next game in rapid fire: Texans and Colts.
Oh, look at that! One of the teams that you need to lose, and both of them play each other. For me, this one is going to be very simple. I'm going with the Colts. They've been showing some good stuff.
I'm gonna go with Texans. I think CJ Stroud gets them up in the playoffs.
Unfortunately, I'm going with the Texans as well. Jags and Titans. I'll start. I'm going with the Jags.
Jags.
That would be Jags.
Falcons and Saints. Go ahead, Eddie.
This one was a little tough for me because the Saints have been playing some pretty good football and the Falcons have been failing, but I went with the Falcons at home.
This is another basura game. Fuck it. Falcons at home.
I'm going to go with the Saints. Vikings and Lions need to talk about extensively. And let me tell you something right now. The Detroit Lions are very upset with the fact they were screwed out of their victory last week by a cheating team. However, this week they need to take the victory because they need to go into the playoffs looking pretty strong. I'm going to go with them to defeat the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going with the Detroit Lions.
I'll go with Detroit too. Like, I agree. Dan Campbell's going to have those guys fired up and ready to go to show a statement in their playoff push. Plus, just on offense and defense, they should just handle the Vikings. Like, Vikings with all the injuries, they're on paper they're undermanned. So we'll go with Detroit.
Yeah, even though the Vikings are still well and alive in the playoff run and everything, and trying to secure a seed to get into the playoffs, even as a wild card. But however, for that to happen, it would have to be starting with a win. Really, the playoffs started for them 3 weeks ago, and they've been faltering all the way through. And like you said, it has to do with injuries. it started off with Kirk Cousins going down. I think if Kirk Cousins was behind the helm, they'll have a better shot at this and everything.
Absolutely.
But seeing how things are standing, we definitely got to go with the Lions. I mean, them guys are going to come out there ready to prove that what happened last week was a fluke. And it was a tough grind out game last week between the Lions and the Cowboys. A really dirty, grimy game and everything. But I'll definitely take the Lions on this one.
Lions and Vikings. We have a lot of people who are picking the Lions on that one. When we come back, we're going to talk about some NFC East division rivals, as well as some AFC North division rivals. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review Dynasty Corner.
Russell, you know how I feel about Chase U, right?
Go ahead.
No. Do you know how I feel about this?
Why do you think I'm letting you go ahead? Because I know exactly how you feel.
Andre Chase is a fool. Let me tell you something. He said here the week previously, right? Everyone called me a madman. I had to deal with this on Twitter, Russell. I was bullied by Jeffrey, who apparently eats plates thanks to one Shay Soy. Shay Soy tried to bully me. I sat here and I called the truth. Andre Chase has a gambling problem. He went on the podium and said, "Hey, I have a gambling problem. We're going to get out of this mess." And he proceeds to gamble. He does more gambling, tries to put himself in more debt. So this man has not learned from anything. He's continuing his bad habits. Duke tries to say to him, like, "Yo, bro, you wildin'. You need to chill." Andre said, "Pepper needs a new pair of shoes." And then as the match goes on, the Hills are taking over. Someone's taking over, but Duke gets the hot tag. Duke is just kicking ass, right? But Andre Chase, he can't help himself. He's a gambler. He says, "I got this, Duke." Newsflash, he didn't. And you know what happened after he got in the ring? Proceeded to get dominated. And then he got dominated, got pinned. And now Chase U is just in a hooray right about now. And I'm supposed to feel sorry for this guy? No.
Well, I think that he should have quit while he was ahead in terms of doing that thing he did last week for that money, because that would have helped him some.
Right.
But unfortunately, when you're an addict and you can't accept the fact that you have a problem, you just keep doing it. And it's until this man gets an intervention some way, somehow, and my money is that either Duke Hudson or JC Jane puts it together for this man, he ain't going to accept the fact that he's got a problem and he's going to keep going. And now it possibly cost him the money that he was going to get to help save Chase U. And now out of the mud are the number one contenders for the belts against the family.
And in about 40 minutes time, you can see Bad Guy Jack and Dahlia Dog talk about NXT immediately after NXT. Looking forward to that one on here on Popular Review, Unpopular Review Wrestling. But right here on Unpopular Review Sports, and speaking of which, if you have not subscribed to us at Unpopular Review Sports, please go ahead and do it, where you can see the Dynasty Roundtable, the Dynasty Corner, each and every single Tuesday of the NFL season. Lots of more sports we're going to talk about coming up here on Unpopular Review Sports, including basketball show and baseball shows. Make sure that you follow us on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I'm sorry, not Twitter, X, as well as TikTok. Executive consultant here, joined today by Time to Shine Ed, Kilmo Charles. Joel is somewhere lurking around, don't know, got his picks, didn't see him. We never do when he misses the show. Why? Because F you, Joel. That's why. But let's go ahead and talk about the next game. Jets and the Patriots. Here's AFC East at its finest, or should I say at its worst? I don't know. It depends on the week for the Jets. I'm going to go first on this one. Rapid fire succession. Go ahead and hit me up. Looking pretty as only the executive consultant can look. I'm going to go with the New York Jets.
Well, at least you look pretty. I look handsome. I'm going with the Patriots.
Jets.
Stay with you, Phil.
Packers.
I have an itch on this one, and I'm going with the Bears on this one.
Packers for me. Bucks and Panthers. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks because nobody that's not high off of cocaine will pick the Carolina Panthers. Speaking of which, Phil, who are you picking?
Bucks.
Hey, I've picked the Panthers a couple times this year, even though it's only
How'd that work out for you?
net me positive like once or twice. But
How many victories do Carolina Panthers have for the year?
2.
Right.
The only 2. I'm going with the Bucks on this one.
I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I've already said that. I just want to reiterate that no one in their right mind will pick the Carolina Panthers. Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns, AFC North matchup. These two teams are really, really hurt. These two teams look like they were really contenders about 7 weeks ago. And then, hey, life, injuries, right? I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals on this one. I just think they're a better team in this state right now, but the Cleveland Browns can easily overtake this. But like I said, I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals. Time to shine in.
False. For me, I'm going to go with the Browns. I'm sorry. Joe Flacco is playing phenomenal. He's playing lights out. He In the 6 games that he's played, he's yet to throw under 250 yards. And on top of that, he's amassed somewhere about 12 touchdowns in that time frame. That means
Tuna Joku.
Lord, and let's not get started on that offense. We know what that defense does on the field. I mean, it's a reckoning ball. And I think the Bengals are a very good team, but that quarterback can be had, and he will be had by the Browns.
You trying to call Browning a system quarterback, are you?
Look, Browning is going to be a brown stain in his underwears after they get done with him, man.
Phil, pick a game. I picked a game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Browns.
Rapid fire. We'll stick with you, Phil. Cowboys, Commanders.
Who won the first time?
Cowboys.
Cowboys. Yeah, Cowboys again. Well, wait a minute. Did Cowboys already clinch?
They're playing for the NFC.
We will be playing for the second seed.
Oh, y'all have a reason to play? Okay, yeah Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Now listen very carefully when I say this. I'm rooting for the Washington Commanders. And believe it or not, I have no brain damage. But I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys. Broncos and Raiders, I am picking the Denver Broncos.
I'm going with the Raiders.
Yeah, I hope Antonio Pierce does enough to show that he should get that coaching job in Las Vegas. I'm going to go with the Raiders, too.
Eagles and Giants.
Did he pick for Broncos?
Yeah, he already picked.
Oh, okay. Yo, what happened to the Eagles, man?
This is a rapid fire. Just pick a team.
This was a rapid fire?
You could take a quick second and ask a question.
Right.
The
fans want to know what happened to the Eagles.
You
they were there.
The 5 games, okay?
They had the refs. What happened?
First of all,
yeah, we'll go with Eagles.
Eagles don't have the refs.
Yeah, not anymore.
Oh man, this is so hard to pick.
Yeah, on the polls you put the Giants.
That's because I am going with the Giants. Anyways, I've yet to be wrong about the Eagles in the last 5 weeks. So,
well, I mean, it's kind of easy. I mean, Eagles just give up all the freaking games. This is rapid fire. Pick a team, sir.
I said the Giants.
All right, good. I'm picking the Philadelphia Eagles.
You could say that.
Oh man, a little more gumph, a little bit more.
Maybe when we come back from this commercial break, I need a break. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review.
I do remember Tony Khan did say that they are unifying the titles. So I think it's the New Japan Openweight Strong title, the ROH title, and the Continental title. It'll become the Triple Crown title. So it'll be one title, but they have all the belts. Technically, Eddie was the champion of those belts, but he's not the Triple Crown champion. If he wants to get that title, he has to maintain basically in the tournament. So that's how that will work. But yeah. So I mean, I like the fact that Swerve won because I want to keep that momentum going for him. I see him being even if he doesn't win the tournament.
But Swerve didn't win.
I'm sorry?
Swerve didn't win.
He didn't?
No. This is AEW.
Swerve did win. What do you mean?
Tony Khan loves 2 men's penises, and that was John Moxley and Orange Cassidy's, and they don't lose unless it's okay with them. Then maybe a distant third is Chris Jericho. So of course Moxley won. I mean, so Swerve looked great, but Moxley, won.
Am I misremembering that?
I think that you are imputing what you would have liked to have seen, what most people would have liked to have seen. I heard a lot of people saying that they thought that Swerve was going to win. Then I heard a lot of lesser, but a fairly substantial amount of people saying they thought JY was going to win. And the whole time I'm laughing. This whole thing was set up to be one of 2 things: BCC versus BCC, because it's Brian's wish G1. But given his health, the B story was always it was always Eddie Kingston was going to come from behind and be the Triple Crown winner because he masturbates over Japanese wrestling. So,
immediately after AEW Dynamite, you can join Dan the Man as well as Vinny, and as you just saw in that clip, Evil Doses. They talk about AEW Dynamite every single Wednesday. Looking forward to watching that tomorrow. But you're watching the Dynasty Corner, last games of the regular season coming up this week. We're going to talk about a few more games. We're going to take one last commercial break. We're going to talk about who won the season for the season. Well, who's close to win because we have one more game left. I'm sorry. Let's go on.
There goes that gumption that we were talking about.
Rams, 49ers. Phil, let's go with you. Talk about it.
Talk about it. The 49ers should be sitting a bunch of people. I mean, there's nothing for them to play for. I'm going to go with the Rams.
I don't remember who I picked. But yeah, definitely. I think the Rams will really come out here swinging, trying to get a W on this one. Proves that they do belong in the playoffs and that they can compete against any and every better team that's out there, or that
especially San Fran's second squad.
Yeah, look. If you can't get it done there, then you ain't getting it done at all. So we're going to expect the Rams to get a W here. I know Christian McCaffrey's banged up. Brock Purdy's banged up. Trent Williams is also banged up.
Sit them in.
You know, I mean, that defense needs to get some rest. But then again, they got a first-round bye, so they'll get a rest time. I'll go with Rams.
I'm going to San Francisco 49ers. I'm just going to go to San Francisco 49ers. I don't even have an explanation behind it. Rapid fire. I'm going to start myself. Seahawks and the Cardinals. Freak the damn Arizona Cardinals. I don't like either one of these teams right now. Both of these teams are my shit list. I hope they both just like fall off the face of the earth. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks, but understand I'm not happy with their ass either because they also cheated to win. So I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. Phil, we're on you. Rapid fire.
Seattle.
Hawks. Chiefs.
Going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Last commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Final game we're going to talk about and who won, who's winning so far going into the last season. Stay with us. You're watching a popular review.
You see, this is a moral test of oneself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Get down, get down. You got a corpse in a car, minus a head in a garage. Take me to it.
Don't you hate that?
Hey, what?
Uncomfortable silences.
Pulp Fiction.
The last movie of I Love the 90s is Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction, a movie I've never watched completely, never had any interest. The scenes I saw wasn't too interested in. Those picks, and I got to review it Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. Please make sure that you tune in for that. And right now we're reviewing the 2000s, right? We just did earlier today, if you're watching Old Times, next Tuesday, I didn't put the trailer up, but next Tuesday, we're actually reviewing Zoolander. Looking forward to that because I haven't seen that movie also. It's probably some crap. But right now, we're talking football, Week 18 football, one game left of the season we're going to talk about, and that is none other than the Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. Another battle of AFC East, and we'll start with whoever this lands on. Phil, let's talk about it.
Woo! Wonder if Dolphins have recovered from that drubbing that they took. I had a lot of hopes for Miami. Had them in the Super Bowl, but after that, I don't know. I think both teams play hard because they both have something to play for. I'm going to guess.
I knew that shit was coming up. I knew that freaking coin was coming.
Yeah, let's go Miami.
So this is going to be a big game. This is for the sole control of the AFC East, correct? This is the East?
They're the AFC East, yes.
So whoever wins this game is going in as the second seed because we already know who the first seed is. The Bills are coming off of a really hot streak. I mean, in the last 4 weeks, in about 6 weeks ago, we had a lot of questions about Josh Allen and this team and where they're headed and what they're going to get done and whether they're going to be able to go on a stretch to make it into the playoffs because they've been looking so horribly. They answered those. I mean, they went down to Dallas, handled
They
business.
did not. Some of us in the fantasy world were riding on Cook, and he failed us. He failed the city greatly.
And that's why they got a James Cook. That's why
I
they
didn't
got
know
a
if he was
James
frozen
Cook.
or what. Okay.
But-
Who's your pick, sir? Bills or Dolphins?
So for this game, I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think the Bills are just too hot right now. That defense is making the key stops that needs to be made, and the Dolphins, they looked very, very sluggish against the Cowboys, as they did against many other opponents. And we all know that the Dolphins cannot win against teams with the winning record. The only team they beat is my Dallas Cowboys, and I don't know how that happened. Oh yeah, I forgot. They missed like 17 holding calls on my boy Michael. But anyways,
I'm thinking it's because Dallas Cowboys are not that good. However, I will say this: Miami Dolphins, as much to Phil's credit and Phil's point, was a Super Bowl contending team. They're not so much anymore. However, I think a lot of teams that looked like they were strong in the beginning kind of fizzled out at one point in time during the season. Every team you can think of: Dallas, San Francisco, Kansas City, Philadelphia. A lot of teams that were talked about, Miami. A lot of teams that were talked about fizzled out. I think if Miami wants to still prove that they are that team that can be a contender in a wide open conference, because even though the Baltimore Ravens look like the strongest team in the league, and arguably they could be, right? But you've heard that about a few teams this season, right? And Baltimore even had a little bit of a struggle, a game or two. So I think you have a problem, Sir Ed? Right. So I think that the Miami Dolphins are going to do what needs to be done and defeat the Buffalo Bills because they're at home in Miami.
yeah, the Bills are going to
They're
spank
at
them real
home
quick and go
in
for a quick drive.
Miami, and I think it's because of that they will defeat the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills do not need this victory. Miami needs this victory to make a statement. Buffalo can go in there and sneak in anywhere they want because they are that talented. Not consistent, but no team is. They are that talented to do that, but Miami needs that psychological pull they have and that they can do. So I'm going to go to Miami Dolphins. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of us for the week. That's the end of us for the season. I hope you all enjoy all
Bill,
these
did you
games.
pick her?
He did pick.
Yeah, I said Dolphins.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
I hope you enjoy all these games this weekend because they're going to be interesting and it's going to determine who is the Dynasty champion of football predictions. This is where it all ends. It's all on the line. I can tell you who's not in contention for it. That's the person who's the number 4, and that is Phil. 11 victories last week, 5 losses last week for a season record of 127 victories and 97 losses. Phil, do you have any comments or anything you want to say to the Hammonagers who are watching us?
No.
Yes, I would be disappointed if I were you too. In third place, who is in fighting contention for the number 1 spot, is none other than the person who got 13 victories last week, 3 losses last week, and that's one Eddie. Got 136 and 88. Moving needles, sir. Moving needles. You're getting closer to the finish line. Very good job last week, only because the Eagles were cheated. That's the only reason how come you were tied for number 1 last week with this man, Joel, who's still 1 point ahead of you with 137 victories and 87 losses. And unfortunately, even though he didn't win last week, that tells you who is still in first place, which is none other than the executive consultant, 11 victories, 5 losses, 141 victories. Does that look like a man that's going to lose next week?
Yeah.
You have to get 5 victories over me. You have to get 5 victories over me, sir, mathematically. Actually, no, you have to get 6. Joel has to get 5 in order to defeat me because my picks are that good. My picks are that good because I don't need to. You all focus on
pick
fantasy.
Pittsburgh and you pick the Philly.
And look what Pittsburgh and Philly
every time.
Look what they got me for the last 5-6 weeks. Let me explain something to you, okay?
That's 10, 15 years.
The reason how come I do so much better is because y'all focus on the fantasy. Y'all focus on the points. Who's doing this? Who's catching this? Who's running this? Look at my fan. Y'all were talking to pre-production about it. I heard y'all. Y'all talking to pre-production. Oh, this is the fantasy. I shouldn't be commissioning more. This is going to have to fight. That's y'all. I don't have to worry about all that. I I get to watch the game of football and just enjoy the game of football without worrying about all those little points. Y'all can keep those points.
I hope you enjoyed the Cardinals and Philly game. Since you enjoys it so much.
I hope y'all get eliminated the first week of this the playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here at the Night Score. We are going to be here next week to talk about the playoff games. We're going to bring you the results of what we just talked about, and we're going to talk about our predictions going into the playoffs. Who we think we're going to get is going to go to the Super Bowl. MVP is announced when?
Next week.
The Super Bowl, whatever.
So we'll talk about that.
Like during the Super Bowl week, I thought it was announced.
Whatever it is, it's going to be after next week. So next week we'll also talk about MVP because we won't have as many games to talk about. So we'll be here next week. Hopefully Joe will grace us with his presence next week as he's been absent. But of course, if I was losing to the exec consultant each and every single week, I wouldn't want to show my face either. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. What was that? What was that? Whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us. For they're going to start having this on their timeline, so maybe some of their family and friends can watch it, right? I think, like Philip's father hit me up, right? I'm thinking he's going to say, hey, good job with my son. But no, he got hacked for the 15th time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here at Unpopular Review. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.